And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. As my signal drops down to one bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com. You know the drill. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get down and see our good friends in Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. They will save you 15%. Or go to the app and they will deliver right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Am I bad? Am I shaky here?
No, your audio was fine.
Okay, good. Because it's not moving off of one bar, and I am plugged in. So
your video seems to be a little spotty, but
as long as they can hear me, they get the gist of it, right?
Grit and bear.
Yeah. Let's get to a couple topics today. You're in the driver's seat, so I'll let you take control.
All right. Well, I wanted to start off with the Senior Bowl honorable mentions. Not honorable mentions, I guess, but the watch list for the Senior Bowl for your Cincinnati Bearcats this season. And that would include Malik Vann in his 14th season as a Bearcat, Deshaun Pace, Xavier Henderson, even though I believe he still has 3 years of eligibility.
At least 2.
So
I
he's
don't know.
On the Senior Bowl.
He's in his fourth. Essentially, if you're in your 4th year of college, you can be on the Senior Bowl watch list because technically you're a senior.
And also Juwan Briggs. So you do have all 4 of them on that Senior Bowl watch list. I don't know that we've mentioned it here in the Nightcap. You also had All-Americans for...
Gresham was on there too. Wasn't Gresham on there?
Not according... There were only 4.
Yeah,
only 4.
I thought there was 5. That's my bad.
But you also had the Sporting News preseason All-Americans in Dante Corleone and Mason Fletcher from a couple of days ago that we have not mentioned here in this space. So,
yep. Congratulations to those guys. We know the people that run the Senior Bowl who have been on this network are very fond of Bearcats. So I would say there's a pretty decent chance if those guys, well, Malik can't play. Malik can't play another year of college football.
Right.
You can't.
Unless, God forbid, he gets injured again.
That's it. Don't put that on. Don't put that in the universe. So if they're in the draft, you would think there's a pretty good chance that they could end up in the Senior Bowl. So
sure.
Look, that's what happens when you build a reputation with those guys. That this is a school that's going to put out dudes that are going to come into this event and perform well pretty much across the board, which is what happened with Cincinnati guys.
Truthfully, especially on defense, I would expect nothing less from Juwan Briggs, Malik Vann, and Deshaun Pace. If they're given an opportunity. And what's the guy's name who does the Senior Bowl? Jim Nagy.
Yeah.
He was huge on Ivan Pace. So if Deshaun Pace is indeed going to get an invite and accept the invitation, I can't imagine Jim Nagy has not got him high on his watch list immediately.
Right. I would think Malik and Juwan, this is their final year of college football. Juwan's got like 4 kids. Like he's got 2 kids and a wife, but like he's got like an actual family.
Well, and if Deshaun has the season that we expect him to have, I would absolutely expect him to also be a guy who's not here again next season.
Especially given what his brother has done as an undrafted free agent and looking to be a starter in the NFL as a UDFA. So also he is exactly what the NFL is looking for, is a guy that can like play like a linebacker but move like a safety. Like that's the NFL now.
Yeah.
Like that's what they want. Our guys in that range. They're long, they're athletic. They can cover a lot of ground. He is not afraid to just destroy somebody. which we are going to see a lot this year when teams try to make plays in the flats.
Yeah, he plays with reckless abandon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. Once again, we're going to have a Senior Bowl with a couple Bearcats in it. Minimum.
I'd be shocked if anything else played out.
All right. What else you got?
The other thing I had, there was an article written by Jay Billis on ESPN, and Jay Billis, I feel like, doesn't actually put pen to paper or fingers to keys, whichever way that he does it. If he's still writing on paper and having somebody else type it out for him, I wouldn't be shocked, truthfully.
No, I honestly no.
He's totally old school, and I would not actually be shocked.
He's a lawyer, like a law student, like that's his
correct.
Degree, like
he's a brilliant mind, and he chooses to.
He got me on this one because when you said it, let's be honest, when you sent this to me, I was like, all right, we have done this topic
a handful of times,
a bunch in this space. How is there going to be something new? And he got me with something new. Because,
again, he's a brilliant mind. He chooses to use it or waste it, if that's the take that you want to have, doing broadcasting, play-by-play on the NCAA.
Color commentary. He doesn't do play-by-play.
Well, regardless.
Somebody was going to correct you if I didn't.
That's fine. At the end of the day, he makes his money. He makes his money in front of a mic, though, and he could be making
a substantial amount more being a lawyer.
Probably, or an agent or whatever else he decided to use that law degree for.
Although I'm pretty sure his contract is a sizable one.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong.
He's not hurting for money as the voice, essentially the voice of college basketball.
I doubt it always was, though. As a Duke graduate, I mean, he could have been making significantly larger paychecks immediately out of school than he was doing this.
Sure.
In any case, that's all to say. The article that we read, it was titled, if you want to read it and give us your takes in the comments, Jay Billis, the NCAA and its member schools come off as hypocrites after latest realignment. And obviously, if you go back far enough in Jay Billis's career to where he was entering school, there's been sizable change.
Like you said, the ACC had 8 schools.
Eight schools. Yeah.
Yeah. The Pac, it was the Pac-8. They had expanded to 10 with Arizona and Arizona State. The Big 8 was 8. Like, they hadn't dipped into the Southwest Conference at that point. Like, college sports was regional and drastically different than what it is now.
He also rode a bus, I think he said, to 5 of the 7 opponents when they would play.
Like, their farthest flight was from Duke to Maryland. So from North Carolina to DC.
Obviously much more regional than anything we have now. As you look at the Big Ten with their 4 West Coast editions, you look at the Big 12, which is pretty spread out as well when you're going from UCF all the way to Arizona and all the way to
Colorado,
West Virginia, Colorado. Yeah. I mean, you're almost hitting all 4 corners of the United States at that point. So it's certainly spread out. And that's not even getting into the SEC hasn't made any big moves yet to the West Coast or the Western region.
I don't think that there's nothing left out there at this point in time.
I'm not holding my breath on anything.
Yeah, but I mean, unless you take somebody that's already flipped
until the next wave.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But what he also gets into is just simply the fact that the NBA, the NFL, they run things and they have unions that they deal with, and the players have gotten far more power than what they used to have, and with that power has come money for the players as well. And while the NFL and the NBA grow, the money and the power for the players has also grown. So it's kind of been a back and forth.
Share. Like it's generally the way these things work in the pro leagues, because you have, collective bargaining and labor. It's generally a 50-50 split between the owners get half of the money, the athletes, the players get half of the money.
I'll disagree. I think it's a moving balance of power depending on where you are in the cycle of the CBA.
Yeah, but if you look at how the revenue is distributed, generally it's around 50-50 what the owners get and what the players get. Like, that's what's been collectively bargained over time. There are some exceptions, obviously, but for the most part, they have found a middle ground where one side gets half and the other side gets half.
I think it's probably closer to that in the NBA than the NFL because the NFL does not have the fully guaranteed contracts the way that the NBA does, but that's a story for a different day.
We're getting the semantics, but
right?
Like, it's about half and half still, even in the NFL.
You don't have that, however, in the NCAA, where the players are just simply given free tuition and told, go do your thing. And the NCAA continues to try and Jay's words were that they try to position themselves as a mom and pop shop while collecting billions. With a B, billions of dollars, and essentially just riding the athletes' backs. More often than not, if an athlete gets injured with a life-altering injury, there's not a ton of things that they do for that athlete outside of what they're required to do, which I believe is only 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, after their career is over.
Yeah, there are some schools that will go above and beyond, but it's not the norm. But the interesting part of his article for me is the comparison that he made to the Masters and Augusta Golf Club.
And in all fairness, before you get into this, there is no sport that conducts itself the way that the Masters does. Because just the way that the industry is, everybody is after the almighty dollar. But go ahead.
Augusta Golf Club acts, his point being, the NCAA says they're about this when it's a lie. It's
the student athlete. They say they're about the student athlete. Right.
They're not. They are about making as much money for each individual. And there was one sentence in there that set all this, set the stage for all of this perfect for me, that we don't talk about enough. These are all competing institutions.
Yeah.
They are competing for the same thing.
With each other?
It doesn't matter what conference you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where you're located. They are all competing with one another for enrollment, for a chunk of your $100,000.
And
if you're going to go to college.
Hat tip to Cincinnati for having their largest enrollment ever, over 50,000. I believe it's somewhere around 50,500.
But that's why sports exist, as they're the window dressing. They are what brings people in, and you want to go. Generally, people want to go to a place that has winning, successful athletics, because that means their students have a better time. They have more fun as a student when the athletics teams are successful.
If the Bearcats had been where they're at right now, and having the success that they had as they're having right now, back when I was looking at schools in 2001 to go in 2002 when I graduated, I probably would have given more serious consideration to Cincinnati.
Right.
Truthfully.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what, and even when you were in that period, which would have been early 2000s?
2002 was when I graduated.
Yeah. So, I mean, they still were very attractive because they had just had Kenyon Martin and they were number one ranked, 2 seasons prior when you were a sophomore, junior in high school. They were nationally relevant. 2002, they had a great team. So that's why they do this. But the line Billis used was realize we don't talk about this enough. They are all competitors with each other, even the ones that are aligned, because they're trying to get that same pool of high school kids looking to go into college and give the school, the presidents, the people that make these decisions, their $100,000. Think of it like that. 50,000 students. There'll probably be, 20,000 of those 50,000, maybe 25,000 of those 50,000 that actually graduate from UC. They're there 4 years. They get a degree. Let's cut it short and say 40,000, 50,000 a year. Do the math on 40,000 times 50,000, or 25,000 or whatever. It's millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that sports helps generate. But if they were about what they said they were about, like Augusta National, like the Masters, you don't have to take all of that money. You want to take all of that. That is a conscious decision. And he talked about, he'll be doing an ESPN game at 9:30 on a weeknight. And an administrator from the school will be like, this is ridiculous that they do this to us, that ESPN makes us do this. And he's like, no. You have a choice. You make your schedule. You can play the games whenever the hell you want to play the games.
You get more money by having a later game.
Right. Well, you get more money by and you get more exposure, not just the money, but the exposure, which brings in students like we were just talking about. You get more of that if you agree to work yourself into time slots, TV windows. And when you agree to that, you can put the blame on ESPN. You can point the finger all you want. But that is a you decision to chase the money. You don't get to then turn around and say, it's hard. You're going to love it. It's hard. It's hard. Well, you're making $8 million as a coach. You dumbass. Where do you think that money's coming from? It's hard. You're going to love it. It's hard.
It's certainly not from recycling cans.
They might be. He's a world-renowned recycler. So,
but in any case, I don't know. I did find the comparison to Augusta fascinating, as Augusta still is charging nothing for their food. Their food is you can have a buffet for $20.
Yeah, like Augusta. Their pimento and cheese sandwiches, like that's their big thing. They're like $3, $4 for a sandwich.
I don't even know if it's that much. I think
I think $2 or $3. Like it's what it should cost. Like it's what it should cost. And instead, but you go to a UC game and you buy a shitty cheeseburger. It's like $8, $7, $8.
The
for a cheeseburger, otherwise you wouldn't pay $1 for.
The Frisch's deal used to be fantastic for the big boy and fries, but I digress.
Don't get me started on Frisch's.
I digress. In any case, that was pre-pandemic and all of that. But
sure.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's great that he is out here beating the drum for the student athletes, essentially saying that you're going to see the NCAA march into a congressional hearing, trying to say that they don't need to be paying the student athletes. And at this point, we've seen the NCAA really not have a great success rate anytime they have been in any type of congressional hearing, any type of court.
Court is bad for the NCAA.
Because it's not
legally what they're doing is bullshit, and everybody knows it.
Because they're trying to call antitrust into play, and they're trying to use whatever trump card that they have. But at the end of the day, we all see through it. You have not been transparent in what you're doing, and we finally have the transparency because the student athletes have spoken up, the former coaches, just everyone has spoken up at this point, and the fans see it and see the fans. I don't know that the fans care as much as the general public does. The people who have paid their school loans and see what they're doing to their kids or to what happened to them when they were in school and how long it took them. At this point, the universities, it's all a racket, in my opinion.
It is.
But I mean, you're putting together these giant.
Ultimately, you have a choice. They have a choice. If you want to be about the things that you say you're about, you have a choice to do that. But they've made it very clear that's a lie. It's hypocritical. It is not what they're about. Because there is, and that's why I love this article, there is an entity that does and backs up what it says it's about. We'll take less commercial money. because we don't want ads running during our golf tournament. We'll take, we'll have these specific, like, only way you can get in and watch the tournament. We're not going to sell the huge banners that line the fairways and are around the greens at every golf tournament. They could make, legitimately, they could make more money than anyone.
Yeah, they aren't even charging what other people are charging for merchandise that have the Masters logo on it.
Right. They could make more money than anyone in the golf world in that space. But they have decided this is what we're about, and we're going to stay true to what we're about. And that just shines a brilliant light on how hypocritical the NCAA is. I thought it was great.
That calls into question right now the NCAA, anything from the conference realignment to the media deals to even something as simple as
a cash grab. Every second of it.
Merchandising and the apparel deals and all of that.
$90 for a hoodie. Like,
what are we
really $90 for a hoodie?
So you, like I said, you leave us your comments and what you have.
Check out the story.
It's worth it.
Good one. All right, that'll wrap it up. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.